So here comes the challenge. We are starting officially the Geneva talks. We are actually listening with attention to the concerns of HNC, and we are going to tomorrow discuss and listen to the concerns of the government.
Those are the words from UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura after a 2-hour meeting with the main Syrian opposition group in Geneva on February the 1st. The peace talks are aimed at ending the almost 5-year-long civil war between the Syrian regime and opposition groups. The peace talks were due to begin after groups from both factions went to Geneva to negotiate. However, the main opposition and the Syrian regime said late on February the 2nd that the talks had not begun. And on the same day, the Higher Negotiation Committee, which represents the main Syrian opposition against Bashar al Assad, cancelled its meeting with the Mistura. The opposition said a massive acceleration of Russian and regime military aggression on Aleppo and Homs was a threat to the political process. The discussions with the Syrian regime started on January the 29th, despite opposition absence. The HNC did not initially go to Geneva and put forward demands.
Our children are getting death by Russian airstrikes, by starving to death. We are here to put an end to this one. Then we go to negotiation. At least we should see that the international community is keen and serious to help the Syrians.
After receiving guarantees that its demands would be met, the HNC joined talks. And the outcome of the first round of talks was actually optimistic.
الاجتماع اليوم جدا إيجابي مع السيد دمستورة. يعني الأمور مشجعة، الأمور إيجابية.
One of the most important demands of the HNC was the release of women and children who had been detained by the Syrian regime. The opposition group said it has a list of 3,000 women and children being held in regime jails. And de Mistura indicated that it could be a first step within the scope of the peace negotiations.
I have not yet received that list. I asked for it and I want it because I think a list of the names, particularly of women and children detained, should be the first among the signals that in fact there is something different happening.
The Mistura promised to address this issue in his next meeting with Syrian regime representatives. The head of the Syrian regime delegation, Bashar al-Jafari, had previously said that the regime was considering moves such as ceasefires, humanitarian corridors, and prisoner releases. However, he suggested that they might come about as a result of the talks, not before them. Jafari also accused the opposition of not being serious in creating conditions for peace talks.
دون وجود طرف جدي في عملية الحوار، طرف ملتزم بالعمل الجاد لتحقيق مصلحة الشعب السوري وحده.
The talks had been delayed for a week because of discussions over the possible inclusion of the PYD in the negotiations. Turkey considers the PYD the Syrian wing of the PKK, which is recognized as a terrorist organization by Turkey, the EU, and the US.
Bir terör örgütünün muhalif hareketlerin arasına katılarak bu müzakerelere katılması bizim içimizden kabul edilebilir değildir.
Following days of discussion, French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius announced the PYD was not invited. Despite a war of words at the start, Mistura said the talks cannot fail. And they're expected to continue over the next 6 months with the aim of ending the war with an agreement on new governance, a new constitution, and new elections. Whether there will be a resolution or not rests on the shoulders of international players such as the United States, Russia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. And this is the message from the UN Special Envoy to them.
What I'm simply saying is reminding the ISSG members of what they actually indicated, that when the actual talks would start, they themselves will start helping in ensuring that there would be a discussion about an overall ceasefire in the Syrian conflict.